Hey everyone, Sarush here from SK Talks Games, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use game cheats on your Nintendo 3DS. This guide actually covers enabling cheats for games across 3 different systems, so the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo DS, and even Game Boy Advance. Just a little heads up though, you're going to need a modded Nintendo 3DS for this to work, so if you haven't done that yet, definitely go and do that first before coming back to this video. I'm going to put a link to the official guide on how to mod your 3DS, along with any other links that I talk about in this video, down in the description, and also I'm going to pin it to the top of the comment section so you can easily find them. First, let's talk about enabling cheats for your 3DS games. This one is pretty straightforward. You're going to need an app called Checkpoint, which should come pre-installed if you've homebrewed your 3DS. But if you can't see it on your home screen for whatever reason, just download it using the Universal Updater. Now, the main usage of Checkpoint is for backing up and managing your 3DS games' save files, but you can also use it to enable cheats on 3DS games. Now, once you have Checkpoint ready to go, open the 3DS game that you want to use cheats for, and then open Checkpoint. The cartridge that you've put in your 3DS should be the first title that comes up in the top left corner of your screen. You can also confirm this by looking at the bottom screen next to media type. It should say cartridge. Now, you might actually notice that I actually have 2 copies of New Super Mario Bros. 2 on Checkpoint, and that's because I've already dumped this game onto my SD card, so I actually don't need the physical cartridge anymore to play the game. If you're curious about how to do that, I've made a video that I'm going to link below, but essentially, you put the cartridge in your 3DS, power off the device, then boot into God mode by holding the start and power buttons. Go to Game Cart and select the file that ends with .trim.3ds, then pick NCSD image options and install game image. It will ask you if you want to unlock SysNAND. Just follow the button combo to do that. Once your 3DS is done copying the game, relock SysNAND, press the home button and reboot into the system. When you go back to the home screen, you're going to see a little present, which is the game you just dumped. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you're using a game cartridge or if you're going to use the dumped version of it. You can enable cheats for either of them. In this example, I'm going to apply some cheats to the cartridge version of New Super Mario Bros. 2. With the game selected on Checkpoint, I'm going to press A and then tap on Cheats. This will show you all the cheats that are available for Super Mario Bros. 2. You'll notice you can press Y to select all cheats. I'm actually going to do that to select all of them, and don't worry, this isn't going to actually affect the game just yet. It will just make these cheats available for us to enable them in the game in the next step. After that, press V to get out of the cheat screen, and then press A to save your cheat file. Next, I'm going to exit out of Checkpoint by pressing the Start button, or you can press the Home button, either way works. And then I'm going to launch New Super Mario Bros. 2 from the home screen, but remember, I enabled cheats for the cartridge version, not the one on my SD card, so make sure you're launching the correct game. And in my case, I'm going to make sure I launch the cartridge game. While you're in the game, press the left trigger down and select at the same time to bring up the Luma 3DS menu. Go down to cheats and you can see all the cheats that you enabled previously in Checkpoint are now visible here. Go ahead and pick the cheats that you want. In my case, I'm just going to pick 999 lives and then press B twice to get out of Luma 3DS menu. Now, at this point, some cheats will work instantly, while others might require you to reboot the game. So if you enable a cheat and don't see it working, chances are you probably just need to restart the game first. And in my case, you see 999 lives immediately appeared on the screen, but like I said, if you don't see it happen straight away, you probably just need to reboot the game. You can do the exact same thing for games that are running off of your SD card too. So in my case, I'm going to pick Super Mario 3D Land again on Checkpoint. And I know this is the one that's on my SD card because when I check media type, it shows SD card. I'm going to press A, tap on cheats. Now, because I previously enabled these cheats, you can see they're already selected, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when I run the game off the SD card, these cheats aren't going to be working straight away. So I'm going to make sure I save them, and then I'm going to launch Super Mario 3D Land again. So you can see in this version of the game that's running off the SD card, I still only have 13 lives. So the cheat that I applied to my cartridge does not apply to my SD card, but I can reapply it here as well. Just hold down the lift trigger, down, and select button at the same time to go into Luma 3DS menu, go to cheats. I'll pick 999 lives again, get out of Luma 3DS menu, and continue, and my cheat applies straight away. Now the process of disabling cheats is exactly the same as what we did to enable them, except you need to untick the cheats that you don't want. Just to demonstrate, I've got infinite time cheat enabled, so the time that I've got left in this game is 999 and it's never going to go down. And you know, if I want the counter to start working again, all I have to do is go back into the cheats menu and untick infinite time. And when I go back into the game, you can see the timer will start counting down again. And just like I mentioned before, some cheats might require you to actually reboot the game before they'll fully take effect or before they're fully turned off, depending on what you're trying to do. So that's essentially how you enable cheats for 3DS games. Next, I'm going to talk about enabling cheats for DS games. This process is a little bit more involved, but it's still completely doable. To get cheats working for Nintendo DS games, you're going to want to use two apps. You'll need Twilight Menu, and you're going to need NDS Cheat Database. You can get both of these apps from the Universal Updater. I had some issues updating my NDS cheat databases. If that happens to you as well, you can actually manually put the file that you need in the Twilight Menu folders. All you need to do is download the zipped file from Dead Skull's GitHub and unpack it. You'll find a link to this down below. Then grab the usrcheat.dat file and place it in the NDS Twilight Menu Extras folder. You'll find this folder on your SD card in case you can't locate it. Just a quick heads up though, unlike 3DS games, you can't use cheats directly with a DS game cartridge. If you know of a way of doing this, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, you're going to need to dump the DS game using your 3DS. Again, I've got a detailed guide on how to do this, but the quick version is pop your DS cartridge into your 3DS, power it off, and then go into God mode by holding the start and power button. From there, head to Game Cart, select the NDS file, and pick Copy to GM9 Out. This will put your DS game onto the SD card that you're using. Once you have Twilight Menu downloaded, the cheat file in place, and your games all sorted, fire up Twilight Menu. The first time you load it, it might take a few minutes, so you just need to be patient. Once it's loaded, you need to find a folder where your DS games are. For me, that's going to be the GM9 Out folder with my dumped games. And once you get there, you can decide which DS game you want to apply cheats to before playing the game. To apply cheats, select the game that you want to patch, but don't launch it just yet. So with the game selected, press Y to bring up another menu with more options, then press X for a list of available cheats. You can enable the cheats that you want by selecting them and pressing A. You're going to see an X appear next to the cheats that you've picked. That means that Twilight Menu is ready to apply it. Once you've picked all the cheats that you want, press X to save your settings, then press B to go back, and now you can press A on the game to launch it. The cheats that you picked should be working now. So yeah, you can see once you go into the game after enabling cheats, they're gonna work straight away. And I'm kind of skipping a lot of stuff here, but that's the point of cheats, I guess, isn't it? And one of the main differences between cheats and the DS game and the 3DS game also is, apart from not being able to use the cartridge, is the fact that, you know, you can't disable cheats while you're in game. So to do that while you're in game, press the left trigger down and select button at the same time. This will give you the NDS Bootstrap menu. And from there, just go down to Quit Game. And yeah, once you're back in Twilight Menu, just press Y on the game that you had cheats enabled for. Press X to actually go into the cheat screen. And then you're going to have to press A to untick the cheats that you don't want to use anymore. Once you're done, press X to save and then B to go back. And when you go back into your game, your cheats are going to be disabled. Let's talk about getting cheats for Game Boy Advance games on your Nintendo 3DS working. This is probably the trickiest one compared to the other systems that I've covered, mainly because you have to dig up and manually enter each code. It can take a bit of time, but honestly, once you find a good, reliable source for codes, it gets a lot easier. There are a few different ways to play GBA games on your 3DS, but for the purposes of this guide, we're going to be using the mGBA app. You can grab it from the universal updater if you don't have it already. And once that's sorted, you'll need to put your GBA ROMs onto your SD card. With everything in place, fire up mGBA from your home screen and then head to the folder where you put your GBA ROMs. You can pick whichever game you want, but in this guide, I'm going to be showing you how to set up cheats for The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. Before anything else, I'm going to jump online and search for cheats that work with this game. I've had pretty good luck with a website called gamehacking.org, so I'll use that one here as well. On that website, I'm going to search for Minish Cap and get 2 results. I'm presented with the USA and European versions of the game. I know I'm using the USA version on my 3DS, so I'll click on that one. It's super important to pick the right region, otherwise your cheats may not work. Anyway, once you click on the correct region, you'll see a bunch of codes. To get any cheats working, you must first enter in a master code or must be on code. Think of it like activating cheat mode. You'll notice there are 3 master codes designed to activate 3 game enhancers like Game Shark Advance or Action Replay. Once you punch in the master code, you'll be able to enable other codes that work with those specific enhancers. This whole master code thing took me a while to understand, and to be honest, not every code worked perfectly for me, so it's a bit of a trial and error. It can be a little bit time consuming up front, but as I said, once you get it sorted, it's pretty much set it and forget it, which is nice. Now I'm going to go with the third option here, which means I'll be using codes compatible with Codebreaker, GameShark SV, and Exploder game enhancers. A little tip, I'd highly recommend copying these codes into something like a Google Docs so you can easily access them later. Once you have your codes ready, the tedious part begins. In mGBA, find the game that you want to use cheats for. In my case, that's The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap. And once you're in game, press X to bring up the mGBA menu, and then go down to cheats. Select Add New Cheat Set, and give your cheat a name. Now, since I'm putting in a master code first, I'm just going to name it master code. Now, just a heads up, if you're enabling a lot of cheats, you're going to be doing a fair bit of typing on your 3DS, and using a stylus can really speed things up. After you've picked a name, select Add Line and press A. We're going to need to enter the codes that appear on the first line. For me, that's 9172DDA22E1B. So I'll type that in. I'm not entirely sure if these codes are case sensitive, but I always put them in exactly as they appear to avoid any headaches later. Also, some codes have empty spaces in them, so make sure to put them in exactly as you see them on the website. In any case, once I've entered the code, I'll double check it and hit OK. Before moving on, I like to make sure the code I just put in is accepted. To do that, I go to View Lines to see if the first line of code appears. It needs to show up exactly as I entered it. If you don't see those codes, it's possible that you've maybe made a typo, or maybe the codes are wrong, or maybe you picked the wrong region for the game. Either way, just double check that your codes are visible under View Cheat. Next, I want to put in the code for the second line. So I'll select Add Line again, and then I'll enter the codes for the second line of the master code, which for me are 534042E0CAD7. I'll quickly double check it and then hit OK. Then I'm going to go back to View Lines. If I've done everything correctly, the code should appear in the correct order with the first line on top and the second one right underneath it. Now I have one more line to enter, so let's do that. I'll press B to go back, then select Add Line. And then I'm going to enter the third line of code, which is C127027E98E4. Again, I'll just double check the code is correct and then press OK. Finally, I'll go into View Lines and confirm that all my codes are accepted. I can see all 3 codes showing up in the correct order, so I know I've successfully entered the master code. Now that the master code is in, I'm going to add the actual cheat codes that work with it. You can browse the gamehacking.org page for your game, and it's usually organized into 3 sections. On the left, you'll have the name of the code, and on the right, you're going to see the actual code itself. The middle section will tell you which game enhancer the code you're looking at will work with. So always make sure you're using the right one. And in my case, I'm going to pick cheats to complete the Hyrule map, get 999 rupees, and have infinite HP. Let's start with enabling the complete Hyrule map cheat first. The process is exactly the same as before. We need to create a new cheat and give it a name first. So I'll go into Add New Cheat Set and call it Complete Map. Then I'll go to Add Line and enter the code, which for me is F055972A7 7A25. I'll double check I've entered the correct code, then press OK. I'll then go to view lines to see if my code was accepted, which in this case it was. Next up, the have 999 rupees cheat. Again, create a new cheat set and give it a name. I'm going to call mine 999 rupees. Then I'll go to add line and enter the code F63083599246. I always double check my code before pressing OK. Then I go to view lines to confirm it was accepted, and I can see that it is. The last code I'm going to activate is infinite HP, so I'll add the code for that as well. The code for this cheat is 32002AEB space 00A0. You'll notice I'll make sure I put that space between the B and the 0, so you have to make sure you do the same. Now I'll double check that it's been accepted, which in my case it is. Sometimes a cheat will work right away, like infinite HP. You noticed that as soon as I entered the code and enabled the cheat and went back into the game, the extra hearts started appearing on my screen. Other codes might require you to unlock certain parts of the game before they kick in, like the Hyrule map, so you might have to play the game a bit before the cheat kicks in. And some will even need you to exit the game and go back in for them to take effect. So if you've entered a cheat code and you can see it in view lines and it's enabled in the mGBA menu, but it's not working in the game, it's probably for one of those reasons. Anyway, this video is getting a lot longer than I expected. I really hope it was helpful. If that's the case, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, I'd like to know what your favorite cheats are, so let me know in the comments below. Enjoy using cheats using the Nintendo 3DS in your games, and I'll catch you in the next one.